Right then, this is a quick walk around video, and this is for an absolutely gorgeous car. And this is the Honda CRZ Hybrid, and it's the GT model. As you can see here, finished in what is by common consent the most popular colour of all for them, in this white, because it shows off the black roof and the black bits of the car really beautifully. Also been very highly specified, this car. It's got the exterior dynamic pack, these lovely optional Honda alloys, rear spoiler, sat nav, Bluetooth hands-free telephone system. It really is a very nice specification car, and it's been quite beautifully looked after. I'm going to go around the car for you. It's a lovely day today now, after all the rain we've had. It's not very good for video, so it's a bit glary, but pardon me, for which I apologise. The front of the car is very clean. The only odd, very minor stone chip on the car, nothing you wouldn't expect to see on the car this age and mileage. Coming down the offside of the car first, driver's side, really beautiful condition. Get my shadow out the way for you. The alloys all look really nice. Favourite angles for the car is actually from the back, bizarrely enough. I think it's got a lovely stance to it. I know it's cliched, but it really does echo the original CRX. It's which I've still got one in my collection, and it's just so similar in so many respects. It's a really fabulous looking car. In my opinion, they look slightly odd though if they don't have a little lip spoiler, if nothing else. You know, it really does add to sort of visual presence around the back of the car. Coming down the near side of the car now. Offside, sorry, I was getting offside and near side was mixed up. I think I've got the car parked the other way around, so this is driver's side, the other side was the passenger side, of course. Again, the rear alloy, absolutely beautiful there. The panel looks really nice. It isn't to say that there isn't the odd minor little mark on the car. There's going to be that I've either missed or the camera hasn't picked up. So, you know, I always ask people to bear that in mind. It's but any stretch of the imagination, the car is in really lovely condition. Coming to the boot area, it's a huge boot back here. The fact is, they are what they call 2+2s, four-seater cars. The reality is the back seats are utterly useless. I mean, unless you're absolutely minuscule, you're not going to get in there. What I always do is just drop the rear seats down, and you end up with an absolutely massive amount of space around the back here. It's all been kept really nicely back here. Helped by the fact that it's whoever had the cars invested in this little boot liner, and that's kept the carpets under there looking absolutely as new. So the door card looks pretty much as new. It's in absolutely beautiful condition. All footwell areas absolutely clean as a whistle, and leather seats, passenger seat there, excellent condition. Such a lovely interior on these cars, they're absolutely fabulous. Let's come around to the driver's side. Driver's door card, as with the other one, kept absolutely beautifully. Again, footwell areas all really clean and tidy, and driver's leather seat work is just in stunning condition. So sat inside the car now, engine's running for this section, so you can see the dashboard actually illuminated. Dashboard looks absolutely factory fresh, it's in absolutely stunning condition. Just pull the blind over the roof there so it doesn't glare on the screen there. You can see there sat nav working absolutely perfectly. Clamp control, all the switches are in just beautiful condition, it really is. Underneath there, hopefully you can see aux lead, USB, PowerPoint. So plenty of places to charge your phone and plug your phone in, and then that's wonderful dashboard. I mean, it really is absolutely fantastic. Hopefully, I pan in there, 68,046 miles, with no warning lights on at all. Car always goes defaults into normal mode. You can see it on the left hand side there. If you press Econo, that changes to a little leaf or tree or bush or whatever you want to call it. But the best button's that one there. You get that red hue around the rev counter. and that's in sport mode, and it really is a fantastic setup in that setting there. Multifunction steering wheel, all looks and feels absolutely as new. Audio controls, cruise control, hands-free functions there as well. And you've got auto lights and wipers on the CRZ there as well. But it really is in absolutely fantastic condition in here. But it's just such an interesting place to sit and drive a car as well. You know, don't get tired of getting into one of these cars. They really are great fun in every sense of the word, and quite beautifully built as well, by the way. Finally, just to show you, owner's manual pack is here, as are the lock and wheel nuts for the car. What will follow this video will be a road test of this very car. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda CRZ GT model. This particular car is registered KV60FCZ, and mileage at the start of the road test is 68,038 miles. The reason for doing these road tests is essentially so anyone that's looking at the car online in an advert actually gets to see that very car in operation. It gives us opportunity to tell you about the car, but also, more importantly, to tell you if there's any issues with the car before you come to us. We're well aware that our customers come not just from the UK but Europe as well, so the least we can do is go to the time and effort to do it for you. It's also done on these really lovely quiet country roads very close to our premises, and literally just a couple of miles off the motorway, so it's ever so accessible without sort of huge queues to get into us. So coming to the car itself, I mean, as you'll know from the advert, it's just had 2 private owners from new. It's been wonderfully maintained. We've just serviced the car today actually, and it's in fantastic mechanical condition. Starting with the engine first, I'm going to do a lot of this relatively quickly compared to most of my videos, only because without being too much of a spoiler alert, there's nothing to report back. It drives absolutely perfectly, but I will just go through the basics. Engine and hybrid system, of course. Press a button, it just whirs into life, doesn't do a crank in the normal way. Starts instantly and quietly, or silently I should say, and I'll talk more about the engine itself and how it operates later. But there's no warning lights on the dashboard at all related to the engine or any other part of the car. Engine feeds through clutch and into gearbox. Clutch is absolutely perfect, silky smooth, bike points exactly where it should be on the pedal travel, so all in very, very fine order there as well. Likewise, gearbox, which again I'm going to talk about more in due course, no wear in it at all. The gear change is absolutely perfect. Steering of the car, which can be had in different modes, sort of this, I'm in a sort of the lighter mode if you like. Again, looking for signs of wear in it, there's literally nothing at all on it. It's just absolutely crisp as it was when it was first manufactured. It also tracks absolutely bullet straight. There's no vibrations at all at this speed or any speed up to the legal limit either. Chassis of the vehicle, again, what I'm looking for on road test, and there's some quite bumpy roads back there, which is good for test drive in fact, because if there's anything loose underneath, any kind of wear, any sort of rattles that might sort of permeate through into the cabin, it would do on these roads, but there's nothing at all. It's absolutely as tight as a drum. It really, really is. Brakes on the car, I think it's had relatively recent discs and pads on the front. They're in really good order, and the braking on the car is absolutely fantastic. You just hit the brake pedal, nose dives down nice and straight, doesn't pull left, right or otherwise, and there's no sort of vibrations or pulsing from the brake pedal at all. It's all absolutely spot on. So essentially the mechanicals of the car, it all works absolutely beautifully. The air conditioning is pumping out ice cold air, the heated seats work beautifully, every button you press is working exactly as it should. So nothing to report back in that sense. Which then leads me on, if you don't want to listen to any more of it, turn off now, because the rest of it is more about me just eulogising about what I think is destined for future classic status. This is a stunning little car, because it's the what Honda used to do brilliantly well. Lightweight, dynamic, completely addictive in terms of the way it drives. It's hard to put into words, really. It's just they do this so well. It does, in my mind, sort of hark back to a generation of cars, particularly back in the sort of 80s and 90s. And I know it's cliched, because I mean, I've got an original CRX myself, but this is so similar in concept, and also the way you feel in the car. You feel really special in it, and it's very hard to put your finger on why. Other than the fact that when you sit in the car, the first thing you notice, you've got this fantastic dashboard, which is beautifully made. No buzzers, creaks, or anything from inside the car. They've clearly nicked BMW's texturing with a sort of, and also the colour coding, but they've done a really lovely job of it, to be fair. But it all works brilliantly. You've got a standard sat-nav system, that's about the only thing that's standard on the car. But then they've got elements of other cars in here, which I love. On the sides here, you've got these 3 switches here, 3 switches there. Very reminiscent to me of kind of the S2000s I've had in the past. The switch gear itself is just got that lovely click actuation to it. Nothing jars at all. Nothing feels cheap and nastily produced. Even when you turn the temperature control, it's got a lovely sort of ratchety feel to it, but nicely sort of rubberized in its sensation. But just here, there's your air conditioning. It's just there. It's so simple and easy to use. Just the fuel light coming on, by the way. But it's just really nicely done. Doesn't need to be any more complicated than that, and it works perfectly. You've got this fantastic dash design in front of me, which is kind of futuristic. Again, elements of the original Prelude with the centre stack with the floating dial coming out in front of you and information. But it's just a joy to sit behind and use, because it's different, but it works. It's not there just for show, and it's actually a bit of a pain in the neck when you've had it for a while. It just adds to the driving experience and over the long-term ownership of the car. And then to the right, we've got the sort of more interesting buttons, if you like, because basically you've got econo mode, normal and sport. Basically the car starts in normal mode, so it's giving you decent performance, decent economy, and it just drives really nicely. You then got econo mode. If I press the button there, a little leaf comes up on the dashboard, softens everything up, the throttle response particularly, and it's encouraging more economical driving. I think it cuts the air conditioning out more frequently. But I used these when I first had the car, and I tried to extract the absolute max in terms of economy. It drove me mad. Absolutely drove me mad trying to do it. It might not other people, but it just softened the whole experience to me, to the point I didn't actually enjoy driving the car as much as I should. My personal opinion, press the sport button, immediately you feel the throttle response change, immediately you feel the weight on the steering change, and the whole dynamic of the car, it just comes alive, because now you've got one of the very finest little hatches you'll ever drive, or coupes. Body control is sensationally good. It's got that wonderful sort of chuckable attitude to it. So when you go through corners like this, you just flick it in and it holds its line absolutely brilliantly. But it's also incredibly comfortable. The ride is fantastically comfortable in the car. It is just a brilliant setup. It really is, and it's, as I said, a real throwback to simpler times, in my personal opinion. And then joy, the hybrid in the engine when you rev it up, it's got that kind of hammering kind of, it almost sounds like a twin cam. It's just got that lovely kind of juicy hard edge to it, but without being harsh in any way. It loves to rev, and utterly bomb proof, of course, as you expect from Honda. And my personal favourite part of this car is actually this gearbox, which I rate as one of their very best gearboxes. It's got, daft as it sounds, the gear knob itself is actually really important to how a gearbox feels. If you've got some sort of Mickey Mouse feeling gear lever, it's just horrible to touch. This, of course, you've got this little leather centre part, so it's not too cold in your hand for the those that complain the gear levers are too cold. which I think is ridiculous, by the way. But it feels brilliant in hand. The gear change feels wonderfully mechanical, really short in throw, really snappy in action, and it positively assists in the way the car drives and encourages you to drive rather than puts you off with a bulky or recalcitrant gear change. It's just sensational. I've come to love these. I've had 3 of them in my ownership, but I simply love them. GT spec, of course, allows, you know, the panoramic roof, so you've got lots of natural light in the car, and obviously these leather seats, which are really comfortable and supportive as well. But I just think it's a very, very unique car, and I'm glad it didn't sell in huge numbers, because that means whoever's clever enough to keep hold of one for a long, long time will no doubt have a genuinely appreciating asset in their hands. I'm not saying they're not going to go down in the short term, of course they are, but I think in the long term, 10 years down the line, these things are going to be very, very sought after indeed. But as for the here and now, this is a brilliant example of a quite sensational little coupe. It really is. If you need any other questions answered, please don't hesitate, do give us a call.